Talking to a lot of football coaches, they say you get the most improvements week 1 to week 2. Game 1 to game 2 for you guys now. What kind of, steps are you hoping to take after that Tennessee game heading into Ball State?
Yeah, obviously we didn't do a good job on the boards, and that's the first point of focus is make sure we do a much better job boxing out and rebounding. They had more offensive rebounds than we had defensive rebounds, and so regardless of talent and ability, and they've got both. We've got to do a lot better job of securing those defensive rebounds, and so we had players in position. We just didn't come up with the ball. We didn't do a good job being physical enough to make sure we do that. So when your second leading rebounder is a little point guard coming off the bench, that's not a good sign. And so we're going to have to do a lot better job with our interior players, making sure they grab more boards.
Coach Drew Tennis from the College Heights Herald. Is your team in good health going into your matchup on Saturday?
Yeah, Drew. Right now, knock on wood, we're about as healthy as we could hope to be. That can change, as you know, with everything that's going on. That can change in a minute. But right now, everybody's pretty healthy. They're a little bit anxious to get back out and play again. So we've had some pretty good practices, and energy's been positive. So looking forward to getting a chance to play.
Coach Jared McDonald with the Daily News. You talked a little bit about Allie after the game, and obviously a pretty good debut for her, freshman of the week in CUSA, but you said you wanted to see her do some things better. What would you like to see her do better here in the second game?
Take care of the ball. She does a really good job of she can shoot the ball. She can shoot the ball, but she's worked real hard in her senior year. She actually improved a lot in her assist to turnover ratio in high school, and so that's her next step in growing on the offensive end, is to make sure she's being a little bit more mindful of where other players are and when she gets herself into trouble. Then on the defensive end, she's still learning every day on defense. She has a winner's heart, a competitor's heart, and so she wants to play well. She wants to win, and she's going to do everything she can to do that. And so that's kind of where she is right now. We know she's going to be able to score. We're looking forward to take care of the ball and also help us a little bit more on defense. She ended up with 2 steals, I believe, in that Tennessee game, but we think she's capable of doing more.
Coach, this is Jeff Lightsey from WBKO. We know you have a bunch of new players, a bunch of young players. So what are you kind of learning about your team as the first few games come along? Obviously we had a late start to the season, not much practice time. Like, what are you kind of learning for these first few games from your very young team?
Right now we're focused on resiliency, Jeff. We're making sure that these young ladies, Tennessee's a big game, but Ball State's just as big of a game. Last year we went to overtime with a very good team. Dee Givens scored 41 points, and we still had to go to an overtime to win that ball game. And so this team, they returned a lot of players. And their first 2 games, they've had 2 key players out. Obviously don't know if they'll be back. I think if it's COVID related, I would think the timeline would work out to where they might be able to play in our game. Both Brown and the little guard, I forget her name, but that's 2 of their top 3 scorers. So we've been focused on making sure we're moving forward, moving on. We talk about you're going to make mistakes. You recognize that mistake, you accept it, you learn from it, but the key thing is move on. And so we're moving forward and trying to make sure we're continuing to get better. The other thing I was telling Lillian about this team is we're young, but one of the real positives, these young ladies, they work. They want to get in the gym. They're in the gym before practice or in the gym after practice. They're going to be good. It just takes time. The one thing you can't speed up is experience. And that's the one area that we like the most is experience and having some of that. Mariah Haywood did a pretty good job taking care of the ball. We need her to be more impactful off the ball. She's working on that as well. But she played more minutes in that game than she did in any game last year, and ended up with 4 turnovers in that ball game. So given that new role, pleased with her progress. Muriel Abdigo picked up right where she left off with high energy, flying around, getting rebounds. We need the rest of the team kind of to embody that effort, going after loose balls and rebounds. So I see that effort in practice. We're just trying to make sure we put that together for 40 minutes in a ball game and be consistent.
Coach Drew Tennis with the College Heights Herald again. And so I think you said at the beginning that you were watching film on Ball State. What are some of the things that you think you need to utilize in the game in order to beat them?
Well, they're very well coached, and last year that team, I believe they finished second in the MAC, and they're playing without two of their key players, as I mentioned, but they don't let people score very easily. I believe we were last year either the highest total or second highest total of any game they had last year, and so this year, even though they've lost their first two games, they're still only giving up an average of 70 points. Now, 70 sounds like a lot, but when you've lost your first two games on the road, you would expect that average to be a little bit higher. So they're a good defensive team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're going to play hard. They're a great free throw shooting team. If you foul them like we fouled Tennessee, we're going to be in a long night watching them shoot free throws. So we're going to have to do a good job playing defense without fouling. We're going to have to do a good job on the boards. We're going to make sure we're playing strong with the ball because they're going to really make it difficult for us defensively.
Coach Jared with the Daily News again. Well, obviously we talked about Allie, Selma in that starting rotation, and in total 7 players making their college debut. That's pretty unusual. From your perspective, I guess, what did you learn about what you might want to do with a coach in terms of rotations and whatnot throughout a game, or is it too early to kind of tell with that?
It's still a little bit early for a couple reasons, Jared. One reason, I think that we got in some foul trouble. That affects your rotations, obviously. There were a lot of nerves going on, so that affects your rotations as well. And then just consistency. Sometimes, I think the worst thing to do is to have a knee-jerk reaction and change things too quickly. So you got to give it a little bit of time to see how things work out. And if we need to make a tweak or an adjustment that makes us better, we'll do that. But right now, we got to give these kids an opportunity to play, to kind of settle down and find themselves on the floor. The chemistry is really positive. They worked really, really hard this week to get ready for this next game. And so, we look forward to the Tennessee game, but we're looking forward to Ball State just as much.
Coach Drew Tennis with the College Heights Herald again. Are there any players that you really expect are going to perform well in Saturday's game?
Well, obviously expect Miru to do what Miru does. I expect Allie to come back out and be competitive. I think, she's going to look for her opportunities as well. I think Selma can play better. I think Fatu Poi can play better as well. And Mariah Haywood did well, but she still she can be a lot more impactful, even though she played well, taking care of the ball. She was 1 for 6 from the free throw line. She's not that bad of a free throw shooter. So there's things that she can do as well. I think the one player that I can promise you, Hope Savory will not be 0 for 13. So I think she's a pretty good shooter. I think most of the shots she took were pretty good shots. Her game pace and her practice pace and her shooting, they weren't matched up. And so she's worked real hard this week at making sure that the shots she's taking in practice are more matched up with the type of shots she's going to take in a game. She's a good shooter. She'll find those baskets, and I think I would expect those young ladies, all of them, to do better.
This is Jeff Lightsey from WBKO. I apologize if you answered this before, but is there any update on Sherry or Raneem at all? Is there any chance that we might see them before the end of this semester or anytime this season?
Yeah. Sherry's chosen that she doesn't want to play basketball. She's opted out for the season. So Sherry Porter will not return. Now, Raneem, we're still working through her process of trying to get back here. And she's working with her father and trying to make sure things are taken care of that need to be handled with her family so that she can return. She wants to be here right now, but right now she just can't be. But we're working on that, and we're hopeful. We're hopeful that will work out, and sometime maybe in December, maybe after December, she'll be able to rejoin the team.
Coach Jared with the Daily News again. You guys get a game in Diddle, first game, men or women's in Diddle in a long time. A place you went undefeated last year. What does it mean to be coming back home for a game?
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting for these young ladies to get a chance to play here at home, and kind of that's what one of the parts of recruiting is, to bring young ladies into the arena. They come to the home games. We've got a bunch. Our signees are coming to this game as well, so it's a special atmosphere. It's going to be different, but I think our fans are still going to come out and support these young ladies, and they'll be excited to see how hard they play.
Anything else?
All right, guys. Thank you. You guys have a
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. Thanks, Lillian.
Thanks.